All right, so welcome back, traders. Note here, giving you the live action here this Sunday. Got some things to talk about. Tether on the uptick here. S&P is flat, at least for right now. Nasdaq also flat. So what's happening with the crypto market, right? If Nasdaq is flat, futures are flat, why is crypto selling off, right? All right, so we're gonna take a look at Tether here. It's kind of some interesting things actually. So I'm getting a 2-day short signal, but I don't know if I'm really going to trust that. We're getting a short right at a major channel support line here, which to me, if you go to regular candles, we had a short that came in like 2 days ago. We're about to take about half this candle out. We're still technically toward the top side of this channel, but if you look carefully, we're actually making higher lows on Tether. And the weekly chart here, yes, a big long rejection wick, but I would have liked to see this candle close red this week. We are going to, looks like we are going to close above the 100 period, and we are above the 200 period, or the 200 week moving average right now. So to me, this still looks rather bullish for Tether. So we have a weekly stochastic that's still crossed up. We had that big push up a couple days ago after this long wicked candle into the back test area of our previous level that we broke down from that actually started this bull run. Now we've just kind of back tested it as resistance for now. But if you kind of just get the idea that if this continues to go higher and we test this resistance again, where does that leave crypto? Where does that leave Bitcoin, right? And it probably leaves Bitcoin back at its lows to maybe retest them. And so if this momentum is going to continue for Tether, I can't really see how these markets are going to go up right now. I was hoping that we would see follow through on that movement going into the close here today. But it's not really looking like that at all. We actually just printed a 2-week long signal. We haven't printed a 2-week long signal since June of 23. So when we get these signals, these are pretty significant. And I think we're probably going to see Tether come up to that 6.16 region, or maybe even retest the 100 period on the 2-week chart here. The monthly candle right now is still in development. We have about 20 days left of the month. So lots of time left on this to print. I mean, if this ends up taking out, 6.62, guys, I mean, we're talking about, Bitcoin back down to 49K or maybe lower. That's what I'm looking at right now. Unless something drastically changes where we get a massive rejection on Tether, I'm leaning towards the downside, not to the upside right now, especially after that rejection we saw on Bitcoin at the 200-day moving average, right up to that gap fill region we were talking about, 62K. So you can see, we had this big candle at the bottom of this range. We got a big push up, but we've now confirmed I don't like to really, use these indicators as like forthcoming or foregoing, but a death cross on the daily 200 and the 50 period moving average, all right, that doesn't really necessarily bode well for the market. I mean, we still have the potential to test the top of that range again. I'm not saying like we're completely dead out of the water, but if we start taking out these lows like 56 and we start taking out 54 and we start making candle closures below that, the 2-day, 200-day moving average is holding us up right now around 48K. It looks like the trend is continuing to the downside, right? It's really simple, right? We made a top, we retested that, we got rejected, we made a lower high, we continued, we tried again for a third time failure, fourth time failure, we came lower, we bounced off this support, we attempted a rally, made another lower high, we made another lower low, and now we've attempted a rally and made a lower high. So you can clearly see that the trend is is actually continuing down. I was hoping that we would push through this, and because we got a full momentum reset, but not enough buying pressure in these markets right now, guys. And with I mean, that's really it. There's just not enough buyers. Even though we can see whales accumulating at these range lows, it's totally possible that we come back down to retest this low again, which is 49K. Yep, exactly. So I mean, the chart's telling you, looks like we're going to probably be consolidating for more time here, and maybe we might even see a further drawdown. All right, and if we extend this demand line, it actually extends down to about 46K. All right, and zooming out on the major time scale, we can really see this long-term channel up. Aside from this range deviation we had from the last blow off top in 2017, we're still within the bounds of this long-term channel on Bitcoin. And this trend line, this was our bear market bottom that we got a nice rally off of, and we almost retested it here in September, October, and we got a nice push. It would make some sense if we came close to this region, this $46,000, $47,000 region. We might even get a wick through it or something, we could even see like 38K on a crazy move down. We're not there just yet, but I mean, if you really zoom out, that would be a real big value area, right, for a lot of folks that maybe want to get into these markets. And so I'm not throwing that. I'm basically stating that this is totally a possibility to see, especially if we have long signals on the dollar right now, on the tether dollar, I should say. The actual dollar doesn't really look that hot, to be fair. I mean, this to me looks like a big bear flag, and it's at a major support level. We got a big wick off that low. The U.S. dollar index doesn't really look that good to me, really. I would say Tether looks more bullish than the U.S. dollar. But neither here nor there. I'm still in the camp that we could consolidate more, go sideways. We might even see one more drawdown to like 43 to 46K region once we do take out those range lows. We haven't taken them out just yet, but you can clearly see that we keep getting rejected, right? We keep getting rejected, and that's something to really pay attention to. I'm not like long-term bearish on this market. I'm not selling my spot positions. I'm not panicking in this market. I'm actually just continuing to accumulate as we make those lower prices, because that makes it better for me, long term. And a lot of you guys should be doing the same things. Not financial advice. Obviously, if you need X amount of capital to live and survive, and that's what you got to do. But if you have extra capital that you want to do something with, long-term Bitcoin, I think is historically a good play. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think some more ranging. We might even go for one more attempted rally if we end up making a higher low. Like if we don't come back down to that 49K level, because clearly there was a lot of interest below 50K. That was a massive, massive, massive wick. All right. Yeah, let's pull that up again real quick. All right. So our weekly candle, I would say we closed a doji candle. And I would also say that it was very close to closing a hammer candle, but we got smacked right at 62K at the daily 200 moving average. I will say something interesting is that the futures chart on the daily is not quite the same as the spot chart. We don't have a death cross on the futures chart. We did come to gap fill. We talked about the gap fill trade. But we're sandwiched between these two moving averages right now. I wouldn't say the futures chart actually looks a lot different than the spot chart. Okay. And the daily 200 on the futures chart is right around 55K. I would say as long as we're trading above 55K, we're probably going to be okay. As soon as we start making candle closes below 55 and we start using this level as resistance and really actively making candle closures below that, we're going to probably see a lot more downside, is what I'm saying. And yeah, I mean, our next real big area of interest is like 38K on the daily chart once we start taking out these lows. But I mean, I'm not trying to give you guys like bad news. It'll just be a major buying opportunity if we go down there. To be fair, I mean, I don't think this bull run is done. I think we're seeing some crazy volatility right now. The stock market put in like some local top, and I think we're actually. I mean, actually, the S&P closed a hammer candle. Like this is a hammer candle. Unlike Bitcoin's weekly, that is actually a hammer candle. So we're going to see if we get follow through on that. And we can close a hammer candle and not get follow through, and then it's just as good as nothing, a nothing burger candle. But it would be really interesting to see if we do see the S&P maybe go retest the top. That's a scenario that we could see. And who knows what happens here? If we end up double topping, then we just come back down and retest our low. And then we got the McDonald's pattern, man, and then that ain't gonna be good if we get that. But yeah, that would not be good to see. But yeah, we'll see if we end up getting follow through on the S&P. The Nasdaq probably also printing a similar candle, very similar candle. We did break down out of a rising wedge and instantly got a buyback. So like, this is the thing. It's, in my opinion, it's still better to be in the market than out of the market right now, long term, especially since where we're at in the cycle. Yeah, Fed pivot dump is incoming, but do we pump first, right? Do we pump first, and then the Fed pivots like mid-September, we get to the top, we make a double top, and then we really crash, is what I'm thinking might happen. Because the market's still in fear right now. It's not like the market's in greed. If the market was in greed, I'd be really singing a different tune. We've also just tested a range low. So this is kind of where I'm a little on the edge of my seat in terms of what the price action is going to dictate. It's not like the dollar's looking bullish right now. The dollar is not looking bullish right now. Yeah, exactly. Lower high. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So yeah, they could do the same thing for Bitcoin. We can just end up making a lower high somewhere here, like 68K or something, right? Or trap all the bulls above 66. And then we close candles above 66K, we're probably gonna break 70, right? Like stuff like that. Like yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, this is a big doji candle. I would call that a big doji. Usually those are reversal candles. This is the total chart. They're only as good as they're only good if they see follow through, though, right? So that's all what we're looking for right now is looking to see follow through. Yeah, not right away though. I think the Fed pivot is going to be a sell the news event initially, and then like going into October or something. I think that's when we really start to see that take place, that action. So I think we got like a solid month here of like sideways down, maybe a pump here and there or whatever, range low to range high or whatever we're doing. I mean, some of these altcoins do look like they're bottomed out, but like they're altcoins. I mean, they can do whatever they want with them, I mean, I can't be completely bearish this market right now because if you look at the weekly candle, we actually closed a higher candle body than our candle body here in the beginning of July. So, I mean, if you want to be technical, this is a higher low on the candle body close. Yes, we're making lower highs, but it looks like we're starting to try to pivot here. We got to see follow through though. If we just come back up and test this 60K region as resistance, and then that's it, I mean, then that's the end. We just had a massive short squeeze that happened down here. And I think it was a short squeeze. I don't even think there was a lot of spot volume traded there. It was more so leverage short positions just getting liquidated. Although I did see a lot on chain that there was a lot of spot whales accumulating down there at 49. I mean, that's a great price. If you got 49K, I mean, you're still up. You're still up if you pick that up down there. And even if we do end up going to like 45K or 43K in your long-term spot from there, I mean, what's your drawdown? Like 10%? That's nothing, right? Think about it. So kind of an in-between situation here, I would say. I gave you guys some of the ranges I would be looking for if we do see continuation downside. I think 38K is a real big area of interest if we do get down there. And that can only really happen if we end up taking out these range lows. And so far we haven't done that. We're still above 55K. Like I said, the daily 200 on the futures market is really what I'm looking at, because this market is going to be driven by open interest on futures, not necessarily by the spot market. So, and like a lot of these alts, we're putting in like crazy wicks, and like even this S coin right here technically made a higher candle close in here. Again, it's all about the follow through, though, right? Like we got to see the buying activity continue down here. If we don't see that and buyers fail to push prices up, then bears just take over and bring the price further down. It's just, that's what it is. I mean, we obviously don't have a good situation overseas right now. There's some political things going on right now too, to influence a lot of this stuff. I don't like to talk about that stuff on this channel. I like to focus on charts, but it's hard to ignore like what's really happening in the world right now. There's nothing good is happening in the world right now. It's all bad stuff. But typically when that's happening, like markets just do what markets do. Like, those driving factors could actually lead markets higher because nobody's really paying attention to the market when that's happening. They're worried about their well-being and like their, putting food on the table for their kids type of thing. Anyways, we'll see. We did get a 2-week close long for Tether. That was confirmed tonight on the STP signals. But it could, it could end up being one of these signals where we get a 2-week signal and we get like 2, 4, 6 weeks, maybe like a month of just chop on the dollar here, and then it just rolls over. Because like we did just back test this breakdown on the weekly, and I wouldn't say that this is really that bullish of a candle, right? That's a huge wick, man. That's a huge wick. If this candle body closed like up here, I would say people are selling their crypto. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, XRP probably looks, to be fair, one of the best on the chart right now, on the monthly chart. Last month's candle was a bullish engulfing. You can see this long wick coming in here. You're getting really close to resolving this pattern. It like points to October for a breakout if you look carefully. So like we might have one more month of just sideways. Well, I don't know. I see some monthly bull div here on the MACD oscillator. You're looking like you're about to cross up on the monthly. You haven't done that in a very long time. So there are some bullish things happening on this chart, despite the short-term price action here of a rejection at the pivot level here at 63. We might just go sideways here for a bit till this market settles out, bottoms out. I think at some point you're going to see resolution on this pattern. This is a massive pattern. It's a massive pattern. Whether it be one more capitulation low and then rip back in, just like you did here. You had a big capitulation and then a huge rally out. So it could emulate something similar to that. But some could argue that we saw a capitulation event already occur. I'm in the camp of it's possible that we could see even more downside potentially, because usually you don't just get one sell-off, right? You get like a sell-off, a rebound, or a bounce, then some sort of consolidation or a retest, and then a rejection like we saw at 62, and maybe we head further south. We'll see how this plays out. But I'm long-term bullish here. I'm not trying to like scare you guys or anything like that. I'm just, it's a tricky market right this very moment. Like it really is. It's not an easy thing to just call. Upstart made a major move, man. We talked about that one. That one broke out. That was a big call that we made the other day. Upstart. We gave the call down here in Discord around that 2150 level that it held as support. A failed breakdown, right? False bearish breakdowns have consequences, right? To the upside in this case, right? If it was a failed bearish breakdown, we would have broke the 2150 and back tested it as resistance and saw continuation probably down to like $12 because there's nothing here. It's just straight up, straight down. So you got your descending triangle breakout, very, very clear descending triangle breakout, 135% measured move. You've already started this movement. You've done, you've already appreciated about 81% from August 6th. That is very, very, very bullish for an asset in this market right now. You're probably going to see a pullback here. I wouldn't say that this is just going to continue legging up. It can, but after doing such a big movement, I would suspect some sort of pullback, maybe to that $30 level for another pivot higher low to continue the movement. Because if you go to like the weekly, the weekly RSI looks pretty good, actually. 55, not anywhere nearly overbought. Your weekly stochastics are kind of mixed right there. 2 week is looking extremely bullish. Your 3 week looking extremely bullish. Your monthly, that's what gave me the signal, right? This monthly down here. So a big swing coming up for Upstart. Big swing is what that's telling me. If you ended up buying a spot position down there at the 2150 level, I think you're good to go to hold that. So yeah, very, very strong stock. Looks great. Technicals look great. I think they even got like some upgrade or something from some of the majors. But I took this trade before they gave them an upgrade. I mean, the chart was screaming to you that accumulation down at the bottom of that range. They wouldn't let the price go any lower, man. Did you see what they did? They candled it. They candled it hard down here. If you go to like the daily chart, this is why I took this trade. You see this big bullish engulfing candle on August 5th? Well, the whole market had a big engulfing candle like that, but not at the bottom of the range like that. So that to me was a huge signal that their earnings were going to be good. Yeah. So yeah, Upstart looking pretty solid. I am in a GameStop trade right now. This also looked kind of solid down here with the same type of bullish engulfing and a holding above the moving averages. Just a range low type of trade setup. I'm looking like for mid-range on this. I don't expect this to just break out, but it can. And the reason why I say it can is because your monthly looks okay. You got a nice check back to bullish control zone. Your 2 month looks really good, I would say, on stochastics here. You just got a 2 month buy signal confirmed. The last time you really did that was in like 2020. And the previous time before that was in November of 2010. So like you don't get those very often. So when you do get them, probably don't want to be ignoring that. And this was a breakout, a confirmed breakout with a candle closure outside. And so this could take another month or two to continue. You're still in a nice squeeze here on the 2 month too. The daily is what I was really trading in the 2-day chart. All right, so the daily at the bottom of the range there is what I was liking. And yeah, right off the daily 200-day moving average. No, Roaring Kitty did not tweet. I beat him to it. Just like the last time I gave a trade setup on it was over here before Roaring Kitty came even close to tweeting about GameStop at $14. Yes, we made one more dip to like 10, but if you bought a spot position at 14 and held through that, you would have been a happy camper. Anyways, you can see it's very close to the trend line here for a break. It may not break, but the daily has some nice divergence on it. Around a range low. Higher time frame momentum is pointing up as well. So looks good. It doesn't mean it's going to end well. It may not. It may just get rejected here at 24 bucks. Really, the trade is to about 24 to $28. If we end up reclaiming, 30 bucks, we could stay in the trade to the top of the range. But my trade setup is really just this on this, if you guys took this trade. So we entered in around 21.40. I'm looking at a hard stop below the daily support, and the trade is to about this region right here, which is about 30 bucks. But I will be scaling out maybe a little bit sooner. It just depends on the action. If the momentum really starts to pick up, I'll stay in the trade because then I know that this thing can get squeezed to the upside. All right. CLSK, yeah, this is following Bitcoin. So I did take this trade. We're probably going to end up underwater on this a bit. My entry is basically right around where we're at. So yeah, bear flag pennant down here, but after a major drawdown, which is why I took this trade because I thought we'd see a nice bounce to at least retest the breakdown. We had a breakdown, but no back test, right? So the trade was to trade this to about $14.75 or $15 to retest this breakdown. But if Bitcoin just continues selling off, then this pennant's going to play out, and we're gonna go lower. We're gonna go like $9. Signals on what indicator? What I'm using? The STP signals. Yeah. STP signals? Which indicator? Yeah, STP signals. Yep. Yeah, they're pretty good. Right, no long signal came in here, but I was looking at the 12-hour when I took this trade. I got a counter trend long, and on a 12-hour, if you get a counter trend long, if you look carefully, you don't really get those very often. The last 12-hour counter trend long we got was down here before a major rip. Now, I mean, I'm not expecting a major rip like that. What I was expecting, though, is a retest of this $15 region, which, a 40% move for a stock is a pretty big rip, but this stock has a really high beta. So, like, this asset has already retraced, 62%. Like, how is there not going to be some sort of bounce, right? There has to be some sort of mean reversion. It doesn't have to just keep dumping. Like, I had some 12-hour divergence that I was looking at that isn't really playing out right now. It started to move. Before its earnings or whatever. Right. It got to like the top of this range and got rejected because they had bad earnings or whatever. I would still say that it's still in the pattern though. Like it's not a dead trade just yet until we start taking out these lows. Really, this daily bullish engulfing candle is what I'm looking at, this $10 level. I have the end of next month expiration on this, so I got some time. But if this thing really just does start to bleed out here, I'm going to cut the trade, obviously. But there's a gap right here on 1350, which is confluent with the daily 200 moving average. I was really just trading a bounce on this, guys. This was a bounce trade. And, if it doesn't play out, well, cut the trade. But the trade is to this like $13.50 to $14 region. And, hopefully we see that. We may not if Bitcoin just sells off or something, but yeah, that's it. That's all I got right now. GameStop, CLSK. I was just trading some movements there on those assets. Nope, it's not multi-range. It's STP signals. I've just messed with the slow range a little bit to a two reading. You should. You should have access to it. If not, I'll get you access to it. But you're not an indicator guy, man. You just trade candlesticks, you said. It's fine, dude. I'll get you access to it. Yeah, the 3 day is still short on this, but you can see the short already played out. Like, is this thing just going to continue its down move? If Bitcoin continues its down move, this is going to continue its down move. So there's my answer. But yeah. And you've already had what looks to be the squeeze to play out to the short side. The 2 day already gave me an early buy signal here. I'm expecting this to bounce a little bit more than it has. Yeah, dude, I'll check after the stream, man. I don't have access to it on this TradingView account. And what? CL? Crude. Okay. Crude bottom of the range, man. I mean, like, we got 2 day, looks like almost really close to bullish divergence on the 2 day, the 3 day. The 3 day with bullish divergence, right? You can see the 3 day RSI. That is clear as day divergence on the 3 day. At least for a mean reversion back to like 78, 79, you could end up just getting rejected off this moving average, but you can see like a compression happening here on crude, right? You can see what's happening here. Your range is getting tighter. You're compressing on price. This could end up breaking north, man. Looks like it could end up breaking north. And your hourly is at the top of a range, right? You could just consolidate for a bit here. You might even get a retest or something. But yeah, you're at the daily bottom of a range. I wouldn't be looking to really short that. I would be, I mean, the trade, if you were to take the long was at like 73. If you're already somewhat into this move, I wouldn't really want to be scalping that right now. You want to trade extremities, especially if you're not sure which way the asset's going to break, right? Like right now, you're below the weekly 200-week moving average. You're attempting to break back above it. The weekly's still technically short. But that can change pretty quick. You had a bounce off the bottom Bollinger. You could just be ranging here. You're like almost neutral on the RSI. You could just do something like this. You can compress even more. Eventually, you're going to have resolve on a breakdown or a breakup. We don't know which way this is going to break. I don't. The weekly, got a reset. The monthly, in between bullish and bearish control zones here. Your MACD isn't really giving you any really strong implications just yet on the monthly. You're producing another level of negative momentum. A lot can change in the next 15 to 20 days on the chart. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's in the middle of a range. You're making higher lows, but you're failing to break these ranges, right? You're failing to break these highs. Like if you start taking out 95, then you can talk about further upside type of thing, But until then, you're like stuck. You're stuck in this range. Stuck in it. What if oil just started ripping? I mean, anything can happen, dude. Can do whatever they want with this market. They can do whatever they want with any of these markets. They can push them whatever direction is most beneficial to them. Right? They is market participants, people that are actually controlling these markets, market makers, institutions, major money. Higher oil price means higher inflation. Yeah, well, I mean, you really believe the numbers, the inflation numbers that they're giving us right now? I don't believe them. Like, go look in the store. Or is number up or number down? Think about that. They are coming back in September. What do you mean they are coming back? Like coming back down? Right. So how is inflation down? So that means oil should go up if you're under that. They manipulate oil, man. That's one of the most manipulated things on the chart. Everything's manipulated, but like they really manipulate that. We just looked at it. DXY is at a range low. It's still in this. I would call this a bear flag. It's not anything really a bullish thing to see. You're making lower highs, right? You made your high, lower high, lower high. Now you're testing range lows again. Just consolidating. I mean, you're below the monthly Kijun line. There's no reason to be bullish on the dollar until you break above maybe 107. We covered tether dominance already. You can scroll back a bit. The weekly is still long on tether, and the 2-week I think just closed along, so not great, not good. So we're probably going to see further downside in the crypto market, as we just discussed. Good evening, Joe. Our daily is still short, but our 3-day is still long. Our weekly has been long since April. And our 2-week has been long here since July. So crypto market go down until this goes short. But when tether goes up, that means your numbers on cryptos go down, which gives you a better price. Correct, IJ Money. And I think so we're printing a 12-hour long on Tether. Inflation is good to a degree, man, because you need inflation. It's about keeping the inflation at bay, though, which is what they have not done. Right? The pandemic that we had really caused a shitload of money printing. Like they printed 40% more money into the money supply than they've ever done in the history of the US dollar in 1 year. So there's so much dead money out there. So much dead money. So purchasing power has literally gone to shit, complete shit. And so even though they're manipulating these markets to go down right now, it's for a reason, right? They're manipulating these markets to go further down so they can accumulate Bitcoin and gold and whatever assets aren't tied to the debt market. And I say the debt market. Yes, Josh, that's exactly what you should be doing. Okay. Absolutely. Most people don't do that. Most people like buy something and it goes down and they sell it and they take a loss and they never come back because that's just what they do. And that's the problem. That's why I'm here. I'm here trying to educate people. And it's tough to educate people about this stuff, to be fair. Like I've got 5 people on the stream tonight. And I'm sure the 5 people that are on the stream tonight are on the stream every Sunday or all the Sundays that I am streaming because, you guys realize and understand the same things that I do. And so it goes, right? But yeah, I'm expecting some more downside in these markets. It's pretty clear that Tether's going to try to go back up, test the top of this range again. And Bitcoin's probably going to go further down. So what is interesting, though, is some of these alts are holding a bit of a bid and Bitcoin is down. So that like H bar is up 1%. Not saying that's much, but it's interesting. Yes, Toe, exactly. This is interesting that Bitcoin's down a bit, but altcoins are green on the day. Like, why is H bar up 1%? Like, I'm not saying that that's a big move and it can just get smashed here in a second, but like, if this number is really going down hard, then why are we seeing any green in this market? Everything should just be getting annihilated. Like, SUI is rallying right now. It's up 3%. Solana is also up 1.4%. Like, something's a little interesting going on here. Mango is up. There you go. Mango's flat, dude. And Mango had a crazy squeeze back in February here. Yeah, that played out, right? That squeeze played. The entry was here and it ran to, almost 4 cents. Got a nice move. Yeah. Man, ETH is at like a monthly long-term trend line here. If that gets breached, man, we could be looking at 1900s, 1600s maybe. If this really if we're really talking about a crash coming on, then yeah. Alts are oversold. But that doesn't mean anything though, man. Just because they're oversold doesn't mean they have to pump. Like Flow's been oversold on the monthly chart for like 2 years. Look at it. Look at this thing. You're telling me that this has to pump? Here, look. Flow. Look at the RSI on the monthly chart. This isn't the right chart, is it? There you go. Flow monthly RSI is at 12, bro. It has to pump, right? No. It doesn't have to pump. Just trying to give you like a gauge. Luna, bro. Luna's oversold, man. Does it have to pump? No. Klima, man. Klima. Dino, yeah, we could. Klima, man. This coin is reading a 0 on the monthly RSI, bro. Like, does this have to go up? Well, it already has significantly gone up from its low. Look, Klima went from 69 cents to almost $5, 600%. These alts could go to lower lows. The good alts will hold a bid. It's just depending upon what altcoin you are talking about, sir. But I'll tell you what, man, if Bitcoin really starts to sell off, it doesn't matter what these alts, it doesn't matter how good of the altcoin is. It'll just perform better than the other altcoins, is all. Like Solana has put on quite a display, right? It's even just holding its monthly range low. Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point, but it looks like altcoins are catching bids right now. Some of them, Sui specifically. This one is actually running. Very nice. You actually got a nice breakout on it. Anyways, like the market's still in fear too. So like we could get a bit of a push still, even though Bitcoin rejected 62K, it's still holding above 55K. So we're in between the range, 55 to 62 right now. I would say if the stock market ends up performing tomorrow, Bitcoin's probably going to perform with it, at least short term. Right? Our 2-week signal on Tether could take a couple weeks to play out. So we could go sideways, or we could test higher ranges and then still end up making a lower high and just continue down or sideways or down, right? And so that's the thing. All these rallies have been getting faded rallies. But we've seen lots of drawdown on the altcoin market. So the altcoin market's quite beat up. For now, my daily is short. It doesn't really mean much. It can flip tomorrow. 12 hours printing long. It'll confirm in 11 hours. 8 hour went long. 4 hours long. Hourly is long, but becoming overbought. So yeah, I mean, we could just get something like this. And on this drawdown, you know, the market goes up a bit or something. But yeah, that's it. If we were to look at like some metrics here, if you look at like the rainbow chart, which you guys should all be looking at, we're just in an accumulation zone. We're actually, it's saying basically a fire sale. So don't be selling your Bitcoin. Not yet. $30K is like more than a fire sale. It's like a once in a lifetime reaccumulation opportunity, to be fair. I don't think we're going to get to 30K. Altcoin season index. If you really zoom this out, you can see something pretty interesting, I would say. You could see, I actually drew this already. You can see that you're actually testing a long-term trend line on the altcoin index. So we could get bounces at these levels, which is what we're kind of seeing right now. Is some of these bounce. But yeah, we're really low on the index. We're at a 29 reading, which I think the lowest reading on the altcoin index has been an 8. And that was October of 23. So despite the prices being lower, the index itself is actually higher on the year. Okay. And the VIX last week, man, put a nasty candle in, nasty rejection candle, which is what had me thinking that 49K low was maybe a bottom because of that. But we didn't really get to see any follow through on that. We need a $62,000 break. We need to hold above that. We need to then break 2 higher highs on price. And we've yet to do that. So there's no reason to think that we're going to right now. Yeah. I'm thinking 43K. 32K would be that would be like a really a huge swan event if that were to go on. And the reason being is because 30K level was a really difficult level for Bitcoin to break. And it's going to act as a major support if we ever go back down there. So we didn't spend too much time in that 50K region. So it's possible we see $42,000, $43,000 on this move down here in the next couple of weeks. It is. I don't think it's going to go that low. Maybe like 43K, 38K, I think area, 38 to 43 in that region. We'll see. We'll see what they give us, guys. It's really dumb to speculate what they're going to do, but just watch the action. All right. It's going to be all okay. Long term, this is going to be all okay. Short term, it's going to suck. It's going to be brutal to watch. Your projection is 41K. Well, I'm giving a range between 38 and 43. The dollar is still short on the weekly. The dollar is still also short on the monthly. So the dollar is going to go down. Something about to give. Liquidity is probably going to come back in on these lows. And that's actually something I want to look at, the global liquidity index, before I jump here. All right, so Bitcoin chart, global liquidity index, still wedging, man. We're still wedging there, right? It's diverging. We still have divergence. And we also have a falling wedge in development. So once the Fed does pivot, markets are probably going to, sell off into that or whatever. And then about a couple weeks later, maybe a month after that, that's when they're going to start printing money. Global liquidity is going to go to the upside. And that's when I think we really start the run. So maybe one more low to put in, or maybe even just retest the same low we just put in. Maybe we just come back to 55K. Alt season won't start until Bitcoin dominance tops out and Bitcoin kind of settles. Bitcoin dominance is coming into a major resistance area here around the 58 to 60% region. Elections are in November. Yeah. It's possible, but October is typically a bullish month for Bitcoin historically. So what I think is we will see continued drawdown probably till the Fed pivots, and then we'll settle out somewhere after that, probably end of September, beginning of October. Maybe like middle of October, we run into the election. And then the election comes, people are going to de-risk. And then after the election result, depending on what happens with that, I think we'll then see continuation of the bull market, is what I think. And that'll give Bitcoin a chance to reset on its monthly. This to me is actually kind of a little bit of a concern on the monthly chart for Bitcoin. Up here, we got a reset already. We're still sitting, we're not overbought. We're sitting at 67 on the RSI. But if you look carefully, we made a higher high on, we made a slightly higher high on price, but we have a lot of monthly bearish divergence going on here, man. That is monthly bearish divergence on the RSI. No bueno. No bueno at all. And our monthly, if we close like this, is actually printing a monthly sell signal. So that's not good. We probably need to negate this monthly candle. Is what we got to do. So, man, if they don't do something at the end of this month with Bitcoin here, all things are saying down. Even our 2-month, we've almost exhausted our 2-month momentum. And typically, when you do that, these are all tops of the market. These are all tops of the cycle every single time. Every single time you get a 2-month stochastic cross down, these were all market cycle tops, right? March of 21, we started crossing down here in May. That was the first top we made, right? May of 21 was that first top. So as soon as it starts to cross, momentum is lost on the 2-month, and basically the markets top out. So we haven't done that yet. I'm not saying it's over, but we're close to doing that. We don't stay up here for very long, maybe like 3 to 6 months or something. Like when this crossed here in November of 2020, it took about 6-7 months before it rolled over. So not looking too hot. Not only that, we also had a range deviation outside the Bollinger Band here. And this was in March. That was our top. Not good. Not good at all. The difference here, though, is, and the only thing that I will say that is looking different is the fact that we haven't put any 2-month overbought candles in at all on Bitcoin. And our global liquidity index has been down. So money printing is going to come in and probably save the day. So that can change some things for sure. And our 3-month momentum, yeah, I mean, this is also a concern. Like, you see this trend line right here? If we don't end up breaking that in the next 3-month closure, well, that means we get rejected here, and we come down over the next 3 to 6 months after that if we don't see resolution on that. I mean, our long-term 6-month looks pretty good, but this is like what, like a year out. We did technically get a 6-month cross up, but that's like super long term and going to be late like every time. So yeah, I think eventually we will see higher for sure. We could just be looking at a bit of a drawdown now, and it's just a waiting game, man. That's it. Right. It could go much higher than that if the money printing really kicks up, man. It has a lot to do with that. It has a lot to do with global liquidity. Right. Your first major level is about that $100,000 region. These are your levels, man. 100, 125, 180, 170, whatever. So it could do some crazy shit if they really start to print a lot of money in the next 6 months. You could see something crazy, man. Could see a $300,000 Bitcoin. That can happen. Wouldn't be unprecedented to see with a lot of money printing. It just all depends on how it plays out, man. Really. Anywho, I've been on stream for over an hour. We gave you guys targets here for the downside if we get downside resolution, which looks like we're going to see, especially with Tether being long on the weekly and the 2-week. And that's pretty much it. Looks like altcoins are getting bids here, which is nice to see. There is some green in the market. It's not just all red. Bitcoin is down 0.5%, not a big deal. ETH down about 1%, not a big deal. Some of these alts are actually getting some bids. Subi getting a bid, probably because they have a conference coming up here, and Grayscale Trust. And GLM, this one's on a rip right now. It's up 8%. Wormhole up 3%. We gave a trade setup on this too. But it's got some bullish divergence. The weeklies are pretty wrecked down here. I mean, like, some of these are really just so wrecked that they, like, if there is interest or they have real utility, or they are going to see some bids. As long as Bitcoin isn't just crashing like hardcore, which it's not right now, it's just sitting up here, then some of these altcoins can start to outperform, because I would say we're getting towards the part of that cycle where the altcoins are going to start to outperform Bitcoin in some fashion. Not all of them, but Anywho, that's about all I got for tonight. Stay safe out there. Trade safe. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Try to keep you guys posted on this action. All right, guys? Appreciate all you guys tuning in. Have a great week.